What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the most important NYCFC talk show. It is time for the Dudes in Blue, episode number 150. Thank you guys so much for joining us. 150 episodes in, and yet here we are. I'm your host, Joe Amato. Alongside me, as always,
Antonino.
And over there, friend of the show, a man that needs very little introduction, the man, the myth, the legend, Ian Joy. Welcome back to the Dudes in Blue, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much for having me back on. It's great to always reach these milestones together with you guys. I know you do all the hard work, and I just come in right when it crosses the goal line, to just, celebrate with you. But yeah. I appreciate that.
You goal hang. That's what it is.
It's like a sitter. We get the ball down the field, and you just stand right at the goal line and tap it in.
You guys are like the Alex Ring to my Eber at the moment. So.
Just wait right in the 6-yard box, Ian, and just tap it home. That's all you got to do. Well, we appreciate you being here. If you guys are watching on the Facebook Live feed, please start dropping those comments, letting us know that you're here. We'll do some shout-outs real quick. As always, guys, we're going to start off with the New York Groove, talking NYCFC, moving on to Dude of the Week. We've got some MLS roundup that we're going to talk to Ian about, obviously, and then Ant's going to be upset about something in Ant's rants. And then we're going to do some rapid-fire Q&A as well. Before we do, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we are at Dudes in Blue. That's how to get a hold of us. And, dude, before we do a quick roll call and jump into the show, we have a giveaway that we got to announce a winner of real quick.
Yes,
so
sir.
One lucky Dudes in Blue fan is going to win this autographed Jack Harrison 8x10. You guys commented, you guys shared, but only one of you is going to win. So that person is, and I don't even know if he's in the broadcast here, Andres Hernandez. Congratulations, buddy. You win this beautiful Jack Harrison autographed 8x10. Shoot us a DM with your info, and we will get that right out to you. Guys, I promise, just one more thing before we jump into it. I just want to say hi to some people that are commenting on the broadcast. Ian, somebody's asking if you could say your.
Your.
Good. That's a good one.
That's it. He did it. All right, there you go. Felix checking in. Lalo saying, hey, David, what's going on? Andres, there he is. Los Caballeros en Azul. Christian Smith saying, we got our Ian back. Jamie saying, hey. Roddy Russell checking in. Ronald saying, Ian. Rajendra coming in. We got my mom saying hi. My mom says hi, Ian.
Hi, Mom.
Ronnie B checking in. Sam, we got lots of people. If I didn't get to you, keep leaving those comments. We're going to be talking plenty of NYCFC. All right, listen, we're going to get into it here. We got a couple games that we didn't necessarily get a chance to talk about, so we're going to do that now in the New York Groove. But, Lou, let's throw it over to Ian real quick. Ian, you're commentating on these games. You're calling these games. What's the biggest takeaway from this past week for you as an NYCFC fan?
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a fan, the biggest takeaway is the team's put out some good performances. I think they're starting to look more in sync with one another. You can tell there's a fighting spirit there. I know the energy lacked a little bit against Chicago. It was a slow-paced game, and I guess a little frustrating to watch. But the game at the weekend I thought was excellent, and I thought there was a lot more energy. The guys are really working hard for one another. We're still lacking that finishing touch, which I think comes over a period of time with the coach and bringing his new ideas to his new squad and certainly his new signings. Still waiting for the squad to be 100% fully fit. But my biggest takeaway would be the fact that the last 3 games, we take 7 points, and we're happy with those 7 points to put us back into contention right now. And I know I've been criticized this week for talking about how you want to be above that playoff line, but I don't care. All given parts of the season, start, middle, and end, I want to be above that red line. I don't want to be flirting with it, because at the end, you certainly don't want to be desperate. So right now, we're put ourselves into real contention, so I'm happy with that.
7 points out of 3 games in 1 week. Dude, that was the positive, I think, the takeaway. I mean, I wasn't like overly excited with the way that things went, and the score lines were what they were, with the exception of that was the Easter matchup. But you got to walk away with that kind of positive, especially after the last 23 matches where we only saw like 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that the one thing I could take away from this is that you're kind of seeing some consistency in terms of team shape, where you've kind of explored that 3 in the back. the shape-shifting formation where you get your wings back up the field and they can come back and play D. And I think James Sands has been a really, really amazing player for us in that role. I mean, this dude looks like he's been playing in Europe for the last 10 years. And a prime example of that is the way he bodied Nani off the ball on that kind of 1v1 against Orlando. He's a great player. He's a great asset to this team. And I think the fact that you've seen the last 4 matches, we kind of playing with the same general shape, I think that helps out. And I think, remember, it's only about 3 to 4 games where you kind of had this shape. So it's still going to take some learning, but I'm actually glad to see that this is something that's being explored and, trying to make it work. And this is the identity that I think you're kind of building towards. Whereas the first couple matches of the season, you had too much stuff going on. And whether it was due to injury or due to matchups, you just had kind of too many moving parts. And now you're kind of seeing everybody's coming together into this well-oiled machine. And you're getting much better football as a result.
But here's the magic. Here's the $1 million question. Does Domè stick with it? And that's the magic question. I think, Ian, in one of the Yes broadcasts, I think Joe had mentioned that it was like 28 lineups out of 29 games or something silly like that. How good is it? Like, as a player, is that frustrating to not know what you're going to get game to game?
I think it's frustrating as a player, yes, because you want to be able to know and recognize in training sessions, going into games, exactly who you're playing alongside. I think it's frustrating with injuries. I think it's frustrating with lack of form, consistency. That's probably been the biggest issue, which is why he's trying to find his perfect 11. But we're not far away from it. We're getting closer to it, and the results have been better for us recently, starting to win a few games at least. And that's important. But at the same time, as a player, you want to know who's your midfield, who's your strike force, who's on form. Especially as a defender, I always loved knowing exactly who I was playing against, and I wanted to play every single game with those guys because you just knew exactly what the other person next to you was going to do. You knew where the midfielder was going to run. You knew where your strikers would what's their habits. You knew they're going to take a chance when you provided one for them. So I'd like to see, on that talking point, I'd like to see a lot more consistency with the starting 11. I hate the fact that we changed the forward 3 so many times. Tati comes in, then he's back out, and then Izzy's in, and then Izzy's back out, and then of course Eber's now come into the team, and there's a real battle, and I love the battle. The fight must be intensified in training sessions, but I'd like to see certainly a lot more consistency in that starting 11. I'm sure it will come with results.
It's so important for this team to gel. I mean, when under Patrick Vieira, when this team was flying high, we almost knew spot for spot who was going to be playing, and we knew what to expect. We knew the game plan, what to expect, exactly how they were going to play. Win, lose, or draw, they would play their way. And I think that's been a major frustration under Domè was that we don't know what we're going to get match to match. And yes, injuries and things like that happen, but at the same time, you can have some element of consistency. And like you said, I think we're starting to see that. I'm still not 100% sold, though. And, dude, I don't know if you agree with me or disagree, but I'm still not 100% sold. There's still too many more games in the past to look at and not enough in the present that's shown extreme positivity. Obviously, the results are coming, but we still need more. I mean, this is New York. We expect to win and not draw. We haven't lost very many games this season, only one. But we need the more results. We're in New York, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's funny. It's that compounding thing we kind of spoke about earlier in the season where, you can't fire a manager 5 games into the season. But it's not the 5 games and those results. It's the fact that it's being added constantly to what's happened in the past from last season, and you're kind of not seeing anything change. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, you're hitting your head against the wall. So I think that's where most of our frustration comes from, and most of the angst and anger of the fan base beginning of the season. But now I think hopefully with a little more consistency, and the defense has shown it so far, because you kind of had the same 3 guys back there. Yeah. Within Sands, Callens, and Chanel, that those guys are kind of building. And now it's just pretty much the rest of the field kind of has to fill out. And once those guys get to know their roles and it's more consistent, I think you're going to see a much, much better brand of soccer. But it's hard in the interim to see the process of getting there, because everybody wants to see the end result. You know, everybody wants to go to the gym. Nobody wants to go to the gym, but they want to look fantastic. You know, people want the end result immediately, and they don't necessarily have the wherewithal to kind of maintain the how to get there, the process. So I think the process is there. I just think it's up to now the coach to kind of realize that, okay, this is kind of working. I kind of like this. Let's move forward with it and see where it goes. And that was a great thing under Patrick Vieira. Even the subs knew that when I go in, this is where I'm going, this is my job, and this is what I'm going to do. Now you kind of have guys where I'm starting 2 games and I'm not playing another game, and Tati's a prime example. Tati was having a really good stretch of games. I know the goals didn't come until later on, but he had a lot of chances in the 2 games he started prior to that, and unfortunately he dealt with the concussion-like symptoms, so he was forced to miss. But I think that's somebody that you kind of have to ride, especially as a young guy who has the stamina that can do it. So it's going to be an interesting month of May because all these road games coming up. I'm curious to see how everything is going to pan out. I think this is a big month for us.
It's a tough no when it comes to shifting around that forward 3. As much as I've been frustrated, I like Tati. I think there's a lot more to come from this kid. He certainly hasn't shown us his best form yet. He needs to be more consistent. Ismail, for me, is one of my favorites. I really love watching this guy play. And he is deadly sometimes when he's in front of goal, that you just know he's going to get it on target. He's going to test the goalkeeper, even though he did miss that 1v1 at the weekend. That frustrated me. You know, but he's that guy, right? He made that excellent run. He got himself into a position which you knew, okay, he's going to put this close. It's got to go in. I love him. I think he's a quality player. I think he deserves more of a run in the starting 11, but when Mitrica comes back and he's 100% healthy, now you've got Eber thrown into the mix. You know, that's a real battle up there to try and find who's going to be your front 3.
The competition's good, right? I mean, like we like having depth. Like that's one thing that we always love to have, especially in the attack, right? But you know, you look at a guy like Ismail Tajuri-Shradi, who has a proven track record, double-digit goals last season for this club, really stepped in when David Villa was hurt, scoring goals, picking up assists, playing incredibly well. One of the things that was kind of frustrating me about this past match on I think it was Saturday, the whole weekend's like blurred to me. I felt like Tajuri-Shradi sat back too far. I feel like he was never really in a dangerous position for him to really cut inside and be dangerous on that left foot like he normally is on the wing. I feel like Tinnerholm kind of occupied that space where Tajuri-Shradi usually does. Yeah. And is that just a function of this formation and the way Domè is playing? Like, what's happening there? Because Tajuri-Shradi gets kind of overshadowed by that, I think, when he's not at part of that front quote-unquote 3.
Right. Well, he's not just a winger. You know, he's a guy that they want to tuck inside to allow Tinnerholm on the right-hand side and whoever plays on the left, whether it be Sweat or Matarrita. I think that's what they want. They want to push their fullbacks forward. I mean, they're no longer fullbacks anymore with the formation. This is a winger. This is essentially a wing back. So I think the forward 3, you're going to see them interchange. You're going to see them tuck inside, drop off. Eber even likes to drift outside a little bit. I mean, these guys are moving all over the place. But you've got to understand it takes time. It's not, even when you're a player, you know it takes time. And while they're going about their business right now, 7-8 games into the season, it's so important that eventually it starts to fall into place that you win a few games in a row to start to put yourself back in contention up the table. Because the longer it goes with drawn games, the more difficult it is to see that red line. So at some point, we have to get more consistency with who's in the starting 11, more goals, 100%. Away from home, we've been better scoring goals than we have been at home, which is crazy, right? At home, it should be a fortress for us because we want to see goals. These fans turn out. I don't care what anyone says. It's great numbers that turn out to watch these games. They want to see goals, and we've got to be doing better consistently, taking our chances, I think.
Guys, if you're listening on the live broadcast, make sure to put those comments in. If you got questions for Ian or the dudes, leave them in the comments. Make sure to share the feed as well with your NYCFC friends. Ian, just a question for you. Who has stood out to you in this new formation, new role, kind of new year? What's one player that's really stood out to you on this squad that's kind of gone above and beyond expectation?
Well, I think you already mentioned it with Sands. James Sands has been excellent, and he's the one who's benefited, I think, more than any other player because of this tactical switch, the formation-wise. He's getting more consistent games. You have to admire his tenacity. I mean, he's a guy who's playing right behind Alex Ring, and he's watching Alex Ring going into fierce challenges aggressively, and his fight and his passion. And I thought at the weekend there he showed it a lot more than any other player on the field. He was just getting stuck in, and you could tell he really means it. So we had him on post-game at the weekend, and I asked him that question, how much he enjoys playing in that position, and he seems to agree that it was a great move for him that the coach made this tactical switch. So he's the one who's benefiting most from this. I still would like to see more consistency from him. I mean, all over the field. But it doesn't help when, Alex Callens has a poor game at the weekend next to him. And then on the opposite side, you've got Maxime not at his best. And then right in front of him, the two, Ebenezer and, of course, Ring, not at their best. And one day it's going to click and it's going to fall into place. And then they're going to be able to put 5 or 6 results in a row. And I really hope that James Sands is in the 11 when that happens.
He's been fantastic. I mean, dude, like we talk about it all the time, his composure. I mean, he had Nani in his pocket. He had Rooney in his pocket. I mean, it's amazing that this kid at his age, like you said, dude, he looks like he's been playing for 10 years.
And it's incredible because the good thing about him is, oh, jeez. The good thing about him is that even when one of those guys is having an off day, the fact that he is playing so well kind of makes up for that, where he can actually help those guys out and elevate their game a little bit. And you saw that against Minnesota, I think, where Callens gets beat a couple times, and he's there making challenges and chasing guys down. And another great thing is that he is so young that we're going to get to see this kid grow for the next 10 years, and he's going to blossom into this really amazing veteran. And as long as you're right, Ian, as long as he gets the playing time and he's part of this team, he's going to be really, really exciting to watch. And I think you're looking at a Ring type protege where he's going to be nasty. He's going to be a grizzly guy in the midfield, and he's going to help everybody behind him and in front of him.
Jillian on Facebook says, Ian, what do you think is going on with Jonathan Lewis?
What a crazy situation. I mean, what a great question. For me personally, he is still trying to make his way into our starting 11. I was very, very surprised that he got called up to the national team. He really, really impressed Greg Berhalter when he turned up into camp, not only because of what he did on the field in those friendly games, but what he did in training sessions. He's a fantastic kid, wonderful kid, great boy, and you can clearly see he wants to get better and learn. But I think that Domè Torrent doesn't see it week in and week out in training sessions, which is why you're not seeing him in games. If he was performing like he had in those 2 friendly games for the US national team in an NYCFC training jersey and in an NYCFC jersey when he was given a chance at the early on in the season, even if it was coming off the bench for 10, 15, 20 minutes, if he was performing as well, it's almost impossible to keep him out of the team, because right now we need to have someone who is consistently playing well, quick, getting after players, creating chances, scoring goals. The team is craving for that right now. So the opportunity is there for Lewis, but without getting on the field, must be so frustrating for him. I mean, his whole career has just taken one big massive step forward joining the national side, because everybody's watching now. And I'm sure, and everybody who's watching on here has already seen the comments from outside of NYCFC. They are not supporters. They are not even enjoying NYCFC. They hate everything about us, but they still have a comment about Jonathan Lewis, where he should be playing and why is he not playing, and he should move clubs and he should do this. Yes, if he's not playing consistently, he should definitely absolutely consider trying to find himself consistent games week in and week out. But he don't want to do that right now. He's just been called up to the national side. And of course, Greg Berhalter will continue to call him up, providing he performs for the US team. And it could be the case that he doesn't play for us, but he could play for the national side as a squad player, or even getting into the starting 11 there. That's how crazy football is right now. But I love the kid. I think he's got potential. I don't like when he dives in penalty boxes. That really annoys me. That's an immaturity in his game, because he goes down too easily when he's touched. complaining to the referee. Don't need to do that in the game. I mean, the kid's got tremendous talent that beating players 1v1, he'll be able to win his fair share of penalty kicks. So just needs to work hard in training, get his head down, work hard, and I'd like to see him come off the bench a lot more right now.
That was his wheelhouse, right? I mean, like under Vieira coming in like last 10, 15 minutes of the game and just blowing past defenses. That was his role. And like that was kind of similar to the way, dude, I think it was 2 years ago with Kyrie Shelton. When he found his way out of the starting 11, he found his way as a super sub and it worked. But yeah. It's just not working right now. It's just not working.
Yeah.
Just speaking of going down in the box, do you feel like Matrita is going down a little too easily as well? I mean, I know his stature, kind of calls for that a little bit, but I feel like he's going down a little soft. Maxi gets hit and he goes down, but Matrita, I feel like is always looking for the call. Dude, what do you think?
Go on, dude.
Yes and no. I think at times he does. Like Ian said, he's another player that looks for it a little bit too much for my taste, especially with a guy who's got that technical ability and that footwork. But I think part of it was you saw a little bit of it earlier in the season because he had nobody else playing with him. Guys are not in. You don't have that natural striker who has a nose for the goal, who knows where to position himself. You've got guys, he's getting down the field so fast because of a great pass or a great through ball, or he's blown by a defender. And then all of a sudden he's got to wait and play catch up. And that's where your smaller stature and hold up play kind of, it's a little bit difficult because you're getting bodied by guys that are 1.5 feet taller than you sometimes, it feels like. And you're trying to do anything you can to get yourself an open and clear opportunity. And he's got his free kicks are he could be dangerous if he doesn't hit it, 30 yards over the net like he usually does. But I think if you kind of saw with his goal against Chicago, you saw Hebert with that hold-up play. And that's, I think, what you want to see more out of Matrita when they're switching off. Whoever's going down the flank, I think if you can hold on to that ball and provide shelter with it until somebody gets open, and now you have that guy in Hebert that has the nose and he knows where to be. I think you need to see less of that. I think you want to see more of the holding play, and don't always look for the foul, because in this league, let's face it, it's too risky to leave that to chance. Because rather than you keep moving your feet and actually being fouled, you're looking for it, just build your reputation as, this guy always dives. And then the ref's always going to have that in the back of his mind where, I got to watch out for this guy because he goes down easily. And then those borderline plays where they're normally called, they're not going to go your way. So I do agree with that. I think he's one of those guys, too, that goes down a little bit too easily. But I think that's going to change once he gets back his starting minutes and he gets to play alongside Hebert.
Jamie on Facebook is asking, who do you think would be the lead striker for NYCFC? So I take that to mean, out of our forwards right now, who's the point of the spear, Ian, for you? We see a lot of shape-shifting going on, so I think it's very difficult for me to answer that question, but what do you see as, seeing that tip of the spear there?
Well, there's no doubt that Hebert is brought in to be that number 9. No doubt in my mind. I mean, Mitrita's not a number 9. Tati's not a number 9. I don't think Maxi can play number 9 either. I'd like to see him play dropping off in that number 10 role more than anywhere else on the field. Don't like him out wide either, but I'd like to have him on the field. So wherever he plays, great. I think Hebert is the guy who's been brought in to do that job. I don't think he has played a lot of that position in the past. I think he's more of a player who's dropped into a wider area of maybe 3 up front, or even if he has played as a number 9 or was supposed to be playing as a number 9, he goes searching for the ball, because this guy's pretty good when he's got the ball at his feet. This guy makes great runs into the channels. I mean, this is a guy who can play anywhere in that front 3 and be a real threat. And he wants to be involved. So he's always making movements away from that number 9 position. Similar to David, but not as much. David was a bit more of a clinical number 9 striker where he would want to be around that box at all given times, unless he was, fighting for the life to get the ball or something. But I think Hebert has a real potential in this league to be a top goal scorer, because he's got the quality on the left, the right-hand side, and playing through the middle. I think once he masters that position, and especially in the formation that we play, recognizing that, hey, we got 2 fullbacks who are now wing backs that can get forward, they do have quality, and they can really cause some problems. We also have two players who are supporting you to allow you to go wherever you want to be on the field to score goals for this team. If he recognizes that all our attention right now and the way we play, the formation, the setup, the 11 that are played is for you to score goals, I think he can score a lot of goals. And he looks like a kid who's really happy. He's enjoying himself. He's a confident boy. He had a great game, of course, again, with a wonderful assist to Tati. And I think that you got to give him time. Let him just continue to grow and get better. I mean, we've seen a couple of goals already, and he's a kid who can get better and better.
Yeah, for sure. I think that could be said about the team as a whole, especially under this new formation, this new type of role. Flipping on the other side, though, Ian, I'm curious. We talked about the player that's really impressed you in James Sands. Let's see if you agree with us. We're not going to tell you who, but there's one player in particular that is driving us absolutely crazy. Who drives you nuts on this team? Who could be way better than they maybe should be?
Yeah. There's one obvious one that stands out to me that is maybe no fault of his own. That's Arita because of his injuries. This kid is, for me, he's one of the best left-sided players in the league. And he has the potential to play at the highest level in the game. He's so good. He's a wonderful kid. He's great at getting forward. Defensively, he obviously needs some work, but getting forward and that left foot that he possesses, his movement, his energy, I just buzz when I watch him play, and I love it when he's in the starting 11. So the frustrating part to me is that he's always freaking injured. Now,
made of glass.
I was a player that suffered with injuries throughout my career. I mean, I tore my hamstring probably 25 to 30 times, and I couldn't get away with it. It kept on happening, and it just seems to me like he's going through hell right now with injuries where he wants to play, and he just keeps picking up these little niggly injuries that are holding him back from being the great player that he could be. And it's going to cost him big time if he keeps picking up these injuries. It's going to cost him with our team getting into the starting 11. He's going to find it very difficult if the team gets in form and he's not in it. It's going to cost him as well if he's not in that starting 11 that potentially he could get a really big move away. I think this kid is worth 20 million plus if he's on his form. I really do. He's a national team player. He's a player who's got a sweet left foot. If he can get himself 7 to 10 to 12 assists a year plus 5 or 6 goals, that kid is worth a fortune to the league and to NYCFC. So for me, it really frustrates me to see such a talent being hampered by injuries. So that's one, obviously, that stands out to me more than anything. And I always mention that.
It's frustrating, right? I mean, look, you play 2 or 3 games, get an injury, you're out 2 to 3 games. You play 2 to 3 games, and it's like he's never really found that rhythm because of that. I mean, he did have to leave World Cup camp, didn't he, for an injury as well? I mean, like, it's keeping him out of so many opportunities. But dude, I think the player that I was alluding to, who is that dude that we were consistently talking about?
It's our young DP Jesus Medina. And I agree with everything Ian has to say. Matarita, it's super frustrating, but I think because it's not really something that he can control. Yeah. With the injuries, I think you got to look at someone who can control it, who has been healthy for a majority of our season and a half from when he got here. He's just underperforming, and I can't put my finger on what it is. I'm sorry, but if you wear that badge of designated player status, I think you have to perform, especially when guys who are nearing their 40s are absolutely ridiculous and scoring goals left and right. I think you've got to be able to have a little bit of confidence, and I think that's probably his number one issue. I think the fact that he's not super confident and he looks a little bit shy on the ball. You'll see guys his age or younger challenging defenders and running at them and making them try to make the first move. And all of a sudden he's more like is a little passive. He kind of disappears for good chunks of games. And I just don't, at that price tag and the spot you're filling up, which is so important in this league, to me, that's probably the most frustrating thing.
David on Facebook is saying that Mata puts in 120% effort every time he's out there, which you don't see from Medina, which I agree with. I mean, you do see more out of Matarita than you do out of Medina.
Yeah, you do. But really, to Du's point right there, he is a player that absolutely is a confident kid, a confidence kid. He needs confidence. I feel like when I watch him play, he doesn't really have an idea of what he wants to do with the ball when he gets it. He doesn't really have the confidence in his own mind to run at defenders 1v1, even though he has the ability. I don't know if you guys remember that one of the first games he played in last season where we played at KC when he scored that goal, and then you're just thinking like, oh man, this guy is the real deal. Like, he is absolutely fantastic, you know? And I was like, wow, I mean, what a player. But it takes it out of your soul when you're not playing well, and then you find yourself on the bench, and then the coach doesn't really believe in you, and then you do have that pressure of the big price tag. But look around the league right now. There are DPs sitting on the bench, left, right, and center, who are not performing. So we're not the only ones who have a DP there that is maybe not performing. You know, I mean, Dom Dwyer at the weekend. I mean, this guy's sitting on the bench, but look at him though, right? That guy was pissed off when he was sitting on the bench. He came on. He tried to kick lumps out of James Sands, who was having none of it. He fought back, and you know, he was fighting. You know, and I want to see that fight and desire from Jesus Medina as well. And I totally agree. Whoever just mentioned that question there, Arita, his problem is not with effort. His problem is absolutely not with quality, because when he plays well. He can obviously do better with match fitness and more consistency as far as games go. But with Jesus Medina, yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you. This is a kid that he really hasn't shown us exactly how good he really is yet.
Yeah, if you guys are just joining in, we're live with Ian Joy for episode number 150. Keep those comments coming. Keep those questions coming. We got to move on. We got to move on to Dude of the Week. This is the segment of the show where we highlight a player that has gone above and beyond the call of duty. Start putting in those comments who you think the Dude of the Week is for, I think, was this match week 8, I think? Or 9. I think it's 9.
Some teams have played 10.
Yeah,
some have played
it's 9-ish.
Who knows?
Match week 9-ish. Who's the Dude of the Week, guys? Start putting those comments in. Dude, who stood out to you this week? Let's go with NYCFC. Let's go for the low-hanging fruit here.
All right. So, I mean, so now we've built on the fact that James Sands has set his bar on the higher side. So now I think beyond seeing him make 6 tackles and game-saving stops, I think he's going to be on the back burner for a little while when it comes to the dude. Not that it's a bad thing, but he's playing consistently well, which is great. I think you kind of have to give it to Hebert at this point. MLS Team of the Week 2 weeks in a row. He's been a major part of the offense, if not partially sometimes the only part of the offense that can get things done. And you're seeing a guy who's got that wherewithal to be in the right place at the right time. And that was always a big thing with whether it was Lampard or Tommy McNamara, always picking up those goals. Like Maxi's shot that was stopped and hit the post that Hebert put in. I don't think there's somebody standing in that spot to put that ball in the first couple matches of the season. I don't think the players who were playing in that role kind of were thinking the 2 steps ahead of where I should be in terms of positioning and trying to pick up a rebound here. I think it's really nice that he can come in and get acclimated fairly quickly, which is not always easy to do, especially in a new country. And I love the goal celebration. He's got the knee slide down pat. He's got the hang
nothing
loose,
else,
the shaka hands. I love it.
If nothing else, Megamind's got a great goal celebration.
Just seeing how happy when you see happy players. I think happy players make a much better team than angry players. Sometimes they need to get angry to, kind of push forward a little bit, like that fire under them. But when you see guys having fun and playing together, that brings that cohesion that we're looking for. And since he's been here, he's been really all smiles from the first time he was on video at Man City getting his medical to now. He's just gelled with his teammates. He looks like to be a delight in the locker room. And everybody seems to enjoy him. So kudos to him 2 weeks in a row for MLS Team of the Week, and I'm picking him.
Ian?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's a number of good contenders there. I like the midfield duo, Ofori and Ring. I think quietly both go about their business. Ofori doesn't get enough credit for what he has done.
No.
Agreed. Don't recognize him a lot of the time on the field because he just goes about his business. He works, and he works really hard. So he deserves a big shout out. Ben Sweat did an excellent job when he came off the bench in midweek, and even though his quality of crosses was not as good on Saturday, I think he deserves a shout out for a decent performance after coming on and replacing Arita. Maxi's getting closer with his performances, even though we're all frustrated with him not scoring a goal yet. And the stupid penalty kicks that he's taken. I mean, that's frustrating. But Eber, he is a player that seems to light up the locker room. He's a player that seems to love already where he's at. And this is what we as supporters of Major League Soccer, and of course for our club, that we want a player who represents us with a smile on their face. He's proud to be in New York. He's proud to represent our club, play for the badge, to score goals, to work hard, to try to make it happen. What more can you ask for someone who's coming in from a different country to he's never even been to New York City before. Get that. I asked him at the weekend, how have you enjoyed? He's like, I've never been to the city yet. I've been here and I've seen the training ground and my hotel or my apartment. That's it. And I'm like, go see why you're playing for this club, because that's important. Go see the people, go see the faces, see the billboards, go on the subway, see what you're representing right there. Because every time you go out in the field, you're not just representing your smile and that Brazilian flag and yourself. You're representing the greatest city in the world, in my opinion, and some great people as well to go along with it that turn up week in and week out to watch you play. They spend hard money that has been earned, and they want to see you score goals. And if he recognizes and realizes that, he might just put that 1% more effort in there. Not that he could, because he's working his socks off to score goals for us. So shout out to him. Big shout out.
And he can pass.
Yeah.
And he can create. You know, it's fantastic. You like a guy to lead from the front, and that's what Hebert does. Let's just give it to Hebert. He gets dude of the week for episode 150. We're gonna just talk just a little bit of MLS, get to Ant's rant, and then wrap this show up. Ian, so this is a crazy league, man. this is kind of crazy. I mean, you got teams like Montreal who wind up showing up to a match 3 hours before the game, and then wind up winning 3-0 on the road. And then you got Zlatan, just doing Zlatan, which you got LAFC, you got Carlos Vela that can't stop scoring goals.
Yep.
It's a fun year. Is there anything that's super exciting to you besides NYCFC, obviously? Like what should the fans be looking out for when it comes to Major League Soccer?
Well, the first thing that sticks in my mind, obviously, I live in Los Angeles and make that travel over to the East Coast every game. For me, it's here in Los Angeles, there's a battle going on right now. I mean, they hate each other, and I love it. I'm right in the mix of it because I've actually been to help out LAFC a couple of times to call some games on their YouTube service, which has been a lot of fun. Stadium's wonderful. You guys have got to go and check it out. It's absolutely amazing. And they've got a really good thing going on because they play great soccer. Bob's got them well organized and tremendous players. I love the black and gold as well. It works well for them in Los Angeles. So they've got a good thing going there. But LA Galaxy, man, right now they are playing well. And obviously, as most people know, I work with Jovan Karowski, their technical director for our Bundesliga shows at Fox. And he hates LAFC and he wants to get one over on them. And he loves Zlatan. And he loves the fact that Zlatan hates everyone that plays in the league and wants to fight with everyone and wants to be leading goal scorer. So the hatred there is something that you've got to admire. We have a derby going on the West Coast that is something to admire, that could potentially be winner takes all, because those are fighting out for the Western Conference right now. It's 1 and 2, so that's got my attention big time. On the East Coast, it's an absolute bloodbath. I mean,
it's a free-for-all.
I don't know who the hell's going to finish top. I have no idea who's going to end up in the top 3. I don't even know who's going to miss out. There's going to be that one surprise club that's going to miss out in the playoffs this year, no doubt about it. I mean, New England Revolution is a surprise package for me because I thought Brad Friedel would get it organized by now, and he's really struggling to win games with his team, even though they did perform well at the weekend.
Crazy result.
It was a shocker, and it was unbelievable to throw that away. But yeah, I mean, Columbus are going well with a new coach in charge. Philadelphia look like they've got their act together. Montreal have surprised all of us once again. I mean, without Piatti winning results, even though their field looks ridiculous at this moment in time, I'm sure we'll all see at the weekend and see how ridiculous it is.
Can we complain all that much? Can we?
It's awful, man. I mean, I just love it, though. This is what I live for, right? I mean, if you love Major League Soccer right now in the Eastern Conference, not knowing who is leading, who's the best team, who's the worst team, that's MLS for me. You know what I mean? We're all trying to figure it out right now.
Well, that's what they want, right? The league is designed to have this manufactured parity. You know what I mean? Like, you just anybody can beat anybody on any given day,
Right.
and you have no idea. The Western Conference is lighting up. I mean, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Carlos Vela scoring goals like it's nobody's business.
It's unbelievable to watch. It's so much fun to watch because you're getting, not only are you getting the goals, but you're getting highlight reel goals, and they're really fun to watch, and they're being shown all over the place. And make no mistake about it, LA is a big market, and these two teams can really grow the league, especially with their rivalry. For me, there is nothing better than when two rival teams in the same areas are playing well. It takes a little bit out of it when one team is underperforming and the other team is sky high, because you kind of get that feeling that, we should kind of roll over these guys and it's not going to be much of a fight.
I don't know how that feels, dude. I've never felt that before with a rivalry match.
Exactly. But for me, when you got two teams that are playing at the top level and they're battling it out, you know you're going to get a fantastic game, and you're going to get it from these two guys, and those will be their derby matches are going to be ones where I'm going to be glued to the television set because it's just going to be fantastic, and you really want to see that, and it's really great for the league, and it's really great for the city.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just fun. It's just fun. We're gonna move on to Ants Rants, guys. While we do Ants Rants, in the comment threads on Facebook, if you're watching on the Facebook Live, get your rapid fire Q&A questions in right now for Ian and the dudes. It could be anything: NYCFC, MLS, food. It doesn't matter. Get the questions in now. We're gonna try to get to them if we can. Start putting those in. But right now, we're gonna do Ants Rants. Well, we're not gonna do Ants Rants. Ant's gonna do Ants Rants. Dude, what's pissing you off this week?
Well, maybe I can get a little help from you guys with my second part. But my first part is this. I have a serious issue with hair dye and New York City FC. And now let me explain to you why. And I don't think anybody's made this connection. I haven't heard about it yet. But if you look at the players who they're not naturally blonde, because we haven't had really any except for Alex Ring. Guys who have dyed their hair or had dyed hair have come in and have had some issues. You had Kyrie Shelton come in, had blonde hair when he started, kind of really underperformed, had a good stretch, but, didn't really work out. You had Sean Nicole came in and really didn't do much of anything, blonde hair. You had Mikey Lopez come in, couldn't really find minutes, tough one. I liked his energy, but, again, blonde hair. Matarita dyed it once, I think 2 seasons ago, and it was nice, and the injury thing with him has just been awful. Now you've got Maxi, who dyes his hair blonde,
can't score a goal.
And all of a sudden, he can't find the net. And it's just like, it's unbelievable. So for the love of God, I love you all. All you players are fantastic. Put the hair dye down. I think it's seeping into the brains a little bit. It's too much. Just let it go. Just let it go. But my real issue here is, and I think I need you guys' help on this one. I think most of us have heard that. If not, you'll be hearing it now for the first time. So the Leeds game over the weekend, I forget who they're playing.
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa.
So that Leeds is fighting for a spot for promotion. And during the match, a foul occurs. And what ends up transpiring over the next minute and a half, 2 minutes is really splitting people in half all over the soccer world. It looked like Leeds was going to play the ball out, and Villa kind of let up, and all of a sudden they march down the field and score a goal, and all kinds of hell breaks loose. And I'm curious to know from you guys, where do you each stand as far as the sportsmanship aspect of it? Are you for kicking the ball out, or are you playing to the whistle like you're pretty much taught to from when you could first kick a ball?
Oof.
Go for it.
My gut says play to the whistle, right? Like NYCFC's been bit by that bug too many times as well. Where they think the ball's out of play and it's not. It winds up ending up in the other, in the opposite end of the field in the net. But at the same time, I mean, if it's also up to the referee as well. Referee can also stop play. Maybe should have if the injury looked like it was severe. But I believe he was waving him on or waving him up, if I'm not mistaken. But I say play to the whistle. That's my gut. Ian, what do you got?
I thought the foul was not a foul. If anything, it could have even been the other way. But the only issue I see here is that the player who was in possession going down the left-hand side did lighten up as if he was going to kick the ball out. And that's what stopped the Aston Villa players from attacking him or closing him down. And I think that's why they're mad. But at the same time, I have no problem with playing on. As long as he doesn't like, oh, go, I'm going to go kick it out, stop. That's confusing to everybody. And that's the thing, what the most frustrating part is. If I was a defensive player there, I would be frustrated as well because it signaled that he was going to kick it out. But I don't agree with kicking the ball out. Unless you've got a head injury, I totally get that. A head injury, 100%. Like we've seen a nasty one in the week that was terrible. But I think you got to be smart. You got to know and recognize this is not an injury. There's no even a foul there. The referee's waving play on. As a defensive player, you don't stop. You continue to play 100%. You don't, even if he looks like he's going to lighten up and kick the ball out, you don't stop until the ball's over that line. You keep going as a defensive player. But on the opposite side of things, absolutely go forward. And one thing that annoys me more about anything else here is that why did they let them score a goal back in the other end? Like, okay, you made a mistake. Hold your hand up and you say, sorry, we scored a goal. We shouldn't have done that. Maybe the left fullback should have done it. But you still had a chance to block him. You still had a chance to defend him.
Right.
Regardless of not being 100% prepared for it. I don't agree with the give them the goal back. I think that's absolute nonsense. I told this story to my Fox producers at the weekend when I watched this clip coming through on social media. I said, I remember when I was a kid playing a friendly game, and you have these games. It was in Germany at the time, and we were playing against some random tiny little Dorf, little village, and 3,000 people turned up eating bratwurst and drinking beers and smoking and having a great time, and they're all enjoying this game. We were 9-0 up, and I remember our captain going, oh, let's just lighten up and we'll let them just get a goal so all these fans can come. I was like, hell no! Let him have any goal. This is preparation for the season. I'm going out with a clean sheet if I can here. I don't care what happens here. And that might have been maybe a little unfair there, but me as a player, as a professional, I don't like to lose. I'd try to beat my kids at table tennis or baseball, whatever we're playing, just because I don't like to lose. So I don't agree with it. I really don't. It annoyed me actually to watch that.
We need a name for when Ian's pissed because Ian's rant just doesn't make sense.
I think the table position of Leeds kind of adds a little bit more flair to this. Yeah. Because the points are important. The points, the game is important, and that's part of it. But I agree with Ian. I mean, unless somebody is really injured, I think diving and people taking way too long to get up, it's hard. It's like the boy who cried wolf. It's hard to tell what's real and what's not. And right. For you to stop the play and possibly interrupt a goal-scoring opportunity, an odd man rush, or whatever the case may be, I think when you don't let the players dictate the outcome of the match, I think that when things get dicey and then the officials kind of, bear the brunt of everything. So you don't have to play the ball. It's a sportsman thing. Just either blow the whistle or keep playing. You really have to play, and you can't. And we've seen it plenty of times. People throw their arms up like, "Oh, I was fouled," but at the same time, you're also letting them have an opportunity because you're not in position. So I think just the fact that with the way that players stay down and diving, and the fact that it has become a part of the game, sadly, that sportsmanship kind of gets thrown out the window a little bit when it comes to things like this.
There was a great incident this weekend in the derby between Dortmund and Schalke in the Bundesliga where Jadon Sancho was celebrating the Dortmund goal, and the Schalke fans had thrown a lighter and it hit him on the eye while he was celebrating. So he was then forced, before the play could resume, to go off the field, right? So instead of giving him medical attention, and completely stopping the game, saying, hey, this will not be tolerated right here. You guys injured this kid. They took him off the field and allowed Dortmund to be a man down from a situation from the opposition supporters, which I thought was wrong, which of course led to Schalke scoring an equalizing goal or getting a penalty, which for me was completely wrong. So, I don't agree with kicking the ball out at all. I'm not a fan of it. And even if I was a player who went down injured, of course, I would want the medical attention as quickly as possible. But at the same time, I'd recognize that, I wouldn't do it. So I don't blame them.
When the stakes are staying in the championship or going to the Premier League, stuff's going to happen. Like it's gonna get the stakes are high. Like it doesn't really get much clearer than that. You know,
we're talking $300 million to get promotion. We're talking $400 million, possibly more, just to get promoted. And you're gonna give the opposition a goal. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's man.
That's why, Ian, that's why we do this. Isn't this nice? Isn't this like cathartic? Isn't this nice to just like kind of let go on some of this stuff every now and then, you know?
I need to let go. My kids are driving me crazy today, so yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. We got some Q&A to go through, and then we're done. But huge thank you to Ian Joy. Smash the like button for Ian for joining us for episode 150. This is always a great time. Ian, the rules are simple. I'm just going to read a bunch of questions here from the comments. You got to give a very quick answer as quickly as you can. I'll give mine, Anthony will give his, and then Ian, you can wrap things up. You ready?
Oh.
All right. Roddy Russell says, Champions League prediction. Who wins it all? I am saying Barca.
Barca.
Ajax.
You had to. Come on. You had to. I will say this, though. I mean, we're recording this on Monday night. They play Tottenham tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow or Wednesday?
Tomorrow.
Tottenham, no Son, no Harry Kane. It's going to be a great game.
No, I say you asked me for my prediction. I thought it was one-word answers. I gave you a quick fire answer.
I think he's right. He's right.
It's going to be a good one. All right. Joe on Facebook says, predicted finish for NYCFC. I'm saying third in the East.
I'm going to go fifth.
I don't care where they finish, as long as they finish above that red line. I want to win it. I want to win the whole damn thing.
Ronald says, this one's for Ian. So, Ian, you got to answer. Do you partake in the chicken bucket when you're at Yankee Stadium?
Never. I've heard about it, but never. I would love to.
Oh, that's a shame. Christian says, does Maxey get re-signed after the season? I'm going to say yes, of course. Come on, give me a break.
I think yes.
I think he's for the next 3 or 4 years here.
Jamie says, should we be worried about NYCFC since we couldn't beat Orlando, a team who has been at the bottom of the table since the beginning? I'm saying no, it's not really a concern because they've always played us pretty hard.
Yeah, no, it's especially this early on in the season where you kind of get your 2 games out of the way. It's tough. That's not a reason to worry.
Orlando were above us by the time we started this game. They're still above us now, so they were not at the bottom of the table. Plus, they played very well at the weekend. We got to give them credit where credit's due.
Jillian says, who was the least missed NYCFC player in history? That's an easy one for me, man. Mixed discrude.
That's not Nemec.
I was just going to say Nemec. Yeah. I was just going to say Nemec. Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Cesar Peralta, the most underrated player in NYCFC. For me, I'm going to say Ebenezer Afori.
I like that. I like that pick, and he really needs a lot more credit than what he's getting because his game has evolved very much from what it was last season.
Yeah, Afori deserves a lot of credit, a ton of credit. I mean, there's a number of players who probably don't get enough credit. Maybe Lewis is one of them as well, from the coaching staff in particular. Hint, hint. But yeah, I mean, no doubt in my mind, Afori's he's been quality recently.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's that pretty much puts this one in the book. So that was a lot of fun. We get some random ones too, though, Ian. Like people ask us like PC or Mac. They ask us a lot of food questions. Like they're all like professional tonight. I don't understand. Can I just get one request in before we wrap up the show? Andres, the winner of Jack Harrison's autograph here, is asking Ian to say hi to Andres, Kelly, and Sophia because he loves your voice.
Hi, Andres, Kelly, and Sophia. Lots of love to all of you. I hope to meet you all in person sometime soon.
There you go. There you go. Well, this has been episode 150 of the Dudes in Blue. You guys have been amazing. Thanks so much for the comments. Make sure to leave us a review on iTunes and Facebook if you like the show. One more time to smash the like button for Ian Joy. For the 2 people that don't know where to follow you, Ian, where can they get a hold of you?
They can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook with @JoyPaulIan. And again, guys, congratulations. You've both done a tremendous job. It's an honor to be a part of this going forward. It's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. And just imagine this, when we have our own stadium, we might just be able to force the club to allow us to do this pod inside the stadium. We can have our own little office with a view of the beautiful grass out there. We can only dream. Let's hope it's not far away.
From your lips to Sheik's ears.
There you go. There you go, guys. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we're at Dudes in Blue. Go follow Joy, Paul, Ian on all of those things as well. Hey, wait, we're going to be back here Monday night, but Anthony's going to be a married man.
That's right. That's right. Saturday, big day. And it's match day, of course.
Oh.
So, dude, I'm leaving this up to you. You've got to figure out how to get the game somewhere in front of our eyes between the ceremony and the reception. So you work on that, and everything will be good.
I will make it happen. Guys.
Joe Tollison. We'll get Joe Tollison to do the ceremony for you. And his wife, you know?
Now, that would be fantastic.
That's amazing. All right, guys, this has been awesome. Until next Monday night, guys, we'll be back. Stay blue.